Hello humans and welcome to episode 23 of Chef Mike Does Stuff. I of course am Chef Mike. It says so on the jacket, the Chef Mike that's referenced in the title of the show. Today I did a Twitter poll to see what y'all wanted me to cook next. Now once again, sorry for the delay, but you know, life happens. But we're back, and in the poll, the winner was green bean casserole. So we're gonna make a green bean casserole with crispy leeks. Yes, leeks! If you've never even seen them, I'm gonna kind of show you how to cut them. The rest of the stuff I kind of prepped ahead of time because it's relatively easy. But with my instructions, you will be able to make that bonfire green bean casserole at home. Thank you everybody for your continued support. Wanting me to make more videos, I appreciate that. That makes me want to make more videos. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, let everybody know that this YouTube channel exists so that I could get a following, and then maybe I'll get cool brands to do more stuff with me, which is going to happen already, but you know, spoilers. I won't let you know who I'm working with. But also, if you are a brand or a food product or an equipment manufacturer or whatever who wants to do something with Chef Mike, you can simply email me at chefmikedoesstuff@gmail.com, and I of course will respond as soon as I can. So we're gonna get to the cutting board. The first thing we're gonna do is get our leeks in the oven. Then we're gonna switch it up and start browning our mushrooms and onions. Then we're gonna blanch green beans, and then we're gonna put it all together. I'm gonna cook it in a cool cast iron pan because that looks fancy, and the food porn afterwards is gonna be awesome. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started making green bean casserole with crispy leeks from scratch. You're probably asking yourself, why are the leeks already seasoned and in a pan ready to go in the oven? Well, I left in the scene where I was getting everything ready, and then I thought I hit record, but no, I hit stop record. I talked a bunch. I did everything that I was going to do to these crispy leeks. So, and what's funny is during the part where I thought I was recording, I was talking about how I am doing everything in order. I am making one batch of a thing. So if I mess up, if I screw up, you're going to see it. Well, I only had one leek. That's all I got from the store. So on this tray, we'll go step by step because I'm an idiot and I already messed up the video. I cut the leeks real thin. So what you're going to want to do, leek is kind of a real long, relatively fat, oniony thing. There's light white, and then kind of starting to get a little dark green, and then fibrous dark green. You're going to want to take the white to the lightish green. You're going to cut that. So it's going to long tubular thing. You're going to cut it lengthwise down the middle. That is going to expose all these layers on the inside. And then you're going to cut it nice and thin. Then you're going to wash and rinse that and pat it dry with paper towel. So you're going to have very dry leeks before we do this because we want it to be nice and crispy. Then what you're going to do is, what did I do next? I drained it, patted it dry. Yes. I took 2 tablespoons of flour. I took 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and I mixed all that together. Put that aside. In the leeks, a big bowl, I tossed it with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, so I got it covered in olive oil. Then I just dumped that whole container of flour on it, tossed it all together, and put it in this pan. Also, what I told you before, but you didn't hear because I didn't film it because I'm an idiot, like I said. Oven's going to be at 425 degrees. I am going to probably cook this for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. However, I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes at a time. After 10 minutes, I am going to move it around in there so that everything gets nice and crispy evenly. And then when this gets nice and brown, it'll be ready. It'll be just similar to that crispy onion stuff you get from the can. The last thing that I said, once again, didn't record because I'm stupid. If your family likes the onions from the can, use the onions from the can. If your family likes cereal over the top, some kind of flake, do that. If they prefer canned green beans, if they prefer the canned condensed soup mix type green bean casserole. Go ahead and make whatever they want. I love all that stuff too, but now we're here. Crispy leeks. You didn't even see how to make it. I just talked about it because I already messed up, but this is going to go in an oven, and then we're going to get back. I think I'll go to the stove next, and I'll make sure that I hit record appropriately. In this, I think 12-inch cast iron pan, I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, one of the things about this recipe that's a little different than some others is I load it up with mushrooms and onions. I've got about a pound of cremini mushrooms. They're baby portobellas, cut up, diced up real small. Just chop the heck out of it. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to put this in this pan here once it gets a little warmer. And I'm going to cook this down until there's no moisture left and it starts browning. Then I'm going to add a whole minced onion, which, you know, I'm going to cut for a little bit because you're not going to just watch this cook. That's boring. I'm sure I could talk over it a whole bunch, but I don't feel like it right now. So then I hit the camera with my shoulder. That's pro level. So I'm going to saute those mushrooms, going to add those onions, and I'm going to cook that down and caramelize it. And we're developing so much delicious, awesome flavor. And what's cool about using the cast iron is this is also where I'm going to make the sauce in. This is where I'm going to toss the green beans in. And then I'm going to top it with our crispy leeks. And I'm going to bake it in this pan. So this is almost like a one-pot thing, except for all the other fun stuff we have to do. But so this is ready to rock and roll. I'm going to add, like I said, a whole pound of cremini mushrooms. It looks like a whole lot. And it is a lot. We are cooking, I think, like 1.5 pounds of green beans. So there is going to be a lot of mushrooms in this dish here. Let me get my salt. I'm adding just a little bit of salt. I don't need too much. We could always season later. More of going to help with a little bit of flavor development, pulling moisture out, and just helping us cook. So I'm going to pause this. We're going to come back. I'll see how many minutes it was, and then we're going to come back when this is ready to add some onions to. Okay, so it's probably been about 10 minutes on medium-high heat. You could see how much this reduced. There's not a whole lot, left. All that moisture was cooked out. It's not really browned at this point yet, but just all the water is gone. Now, like I said, we are going to keep cooking this for a while till we do get a lot of that browning. So what I'm going to do now is add my onions, since all of that water evaporated. So this is a diced or minced 1 whole sweet onion. So yes, that does look like a lot of onions. But once again, we are going to cook the heck out of this, and it's going to reduce really nice. And then we're going to be very happy with our flavors. It is going to start browning. You could hear that sizzle. Beautiful. But I'm going to sign off again. And then once this is cooked for, I'm going to estimate 15 to 20 minutes now, maybe. Perhaps we'll be ready for the next step, which is a whole lot of garlic. I might do green beans. I might blanch the green beans now, too. We'll see how it goes. All right, in this pot of boiling salted water, we are going to add 1.5 pounds of green beans. I trimmed each of the ends of the green beans and cut them in half. You'll notice that there are some there are some pieces that are really long like this. There are some pieces that are kind of short like this. It doesn't matter. It's going to be delicious. It's all going to cook the same. Did I say a bad word? Delicious. I'm going to have to listen to what I just said. Hopefully that wasn't a horrible screw up. But probably the reason why I'm all frazzled is because I burnt the crap out of the crispy leeks. So the wifey went to the store to pick up the crispy onion things for me because I don't have enough time. I got to start getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So it's going to be crispy onions instead. I'll put it in the video that, hey, if you wanted crispy leeks, this is not going to be the video for you because I burned them. So anyway, this is going to go into boiling salted water for 5 minutes. All right. After 5 minutes, I'm going to drain it. I'm going to put it in this bowl of ice, and then I'm going to fill that with cold water. We are going to shock these green beans, and I'll let you see what that looks like in a few. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. If you like your green beans not so fresh and crispy, cook them a little longer than the 5 minutes. Maybe do 7 or 8 minutes. But also remember that this is going to cook a little bit more in the oven with the sauce all over it. So there's our green beans. I'm going to dump it in this bowl with ice right here. Because like I said, we are going to shock the green beans. If nothing else, this will keep the green beans greener longer. That is one of the cool things about doing something like this. Just going to add some water to this as well. Usually I have a big old container filled with a whole bunch of ice. But I'm doing, I just filled a cooler because I'm bringing stuff over to Madre and Padre's house because they are in our social distancing bubble. So I hardly have any ice. So I burnt something, hardly have any ice, had to send the wifey to go get me the crispy oniony things. So this is going to be probably my favorite video ever made. Okay, ice bath. We're going to let that cool off. It'll only take a minute or two. Make sure that there's no ice left in it when we strain it. Here, let's see what we got here. Okay. Still a little bit crispy. Like, perfectly done. At least I did something right this time. That's awesome. So yeah. So I'm going to drain that and get that ready, and then we'll get back to our sauce mixture. All right, we're back. Now you can see this was that whole onion, this was that pound of mushrooms is cooked down into this tiny little bit. So even though we're doing a pound and a half of green beans, and this looked like a whole bunch, cooked all that, this is going to add so much delicious flavor to our scrumptious sauce. The wifey is back. She's our hero. She got us some crispy onions because, once again, like I said, I burnt the crispy leeks. So let's just pretend like that never happened. And even, I probably am going to leave all those parts where I forgot to record it. Like, it's been my, bane of existence, these crispy leeks. So, whatever. Anyway, we're back here. I'm going to add, usually I add 2, but today I'm going to add 5 cloves of garlic. Boom! That's a lot. But once again, we're going to be cooking this for a while. So if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that once you cook garlic a bunch, that burn kind of goes away. And it'll still taste garlicky, but it won't have that fresh garlic burn. So if you want to have that fresh garlic burn, add a little fresh garlic afterward. You know what would be good if you made crispy leeks and added a bunch of garlic powder to it to have a more intense garlic flavor, but you just burn those. The other thing I'm going to do, I like to add a little paprika. This is actually smoked paprika because that's all I ever use because I like smoked flavors. And then a little bit of chili flake. I have Aleppo chili. It's a mild medium-ish chili flake. So this is not to make it super spicy. This is more like you hear spiciness knocking at the door. Like, oh, there you are. Hello. Good to see you again. It's that kind of spicy. All right, so we're going to keep this going for maybe another minute. Let me put it at a little bit higher heat here. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do, that'll be just fine, just like that, is I'm going to sprinkle my flour over this. Basically, there's fat in here. We're kind of mocking a little bit of a roux, which is basically what we're using to thicken the sauce. We're just going to use, what are we doing, half and half and chicken broth. So this flour will be the thickening agent to that. We're actually going to sprinkle this on top of here, and we're going to let that cook for about a minute. That's about 2 tablespoons of flour. Yes, it's going to get stuck to the bottom of the pan, and yes, you could go ahead and scrape it off and mix everything around, but don't worry, because once you add your other liquid stuff to this, anything that's stuck to the bottom of that pan is going to release because it's basically like deglazing. You do want to cook this flour for just a little bit because that does help a little bit with flavor if you get a little bit of browning. If you think of like Cajun or Creole cuisine when they use real dark roux, that's adding a lot of nuttiness. But we're really doing this for function. But a little bit of sauteing that flour will help it not be so like gritty or grainy. You want to make sure that all the flour little molecules and little flour bits are ready to be fully hydrated with your liquid. So, got this going. Oh, the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add my more salt and pepper, like so. I do like to add a lot of black pepper, though. It is a delicious flavor to this, like a little spicy, like a little burn. I want a little black pepper burn, actually. I think that's delicious in my green bean casserole. So we got that going. Next, I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup of chicken broth. Okay? I'm only going to cook this for like a minute. And then I'm going to add, you can see anything that was on the bottom there is just coming right off. Nice, nice, nice. And don't worry, it will thicken as it cooks like a gravy, just like any of that other instant stuff. We're basically making what's in the condensed soup can from scratch. Okay. Turn that heat up. It's pretty high. Okay, there's nothing stuck to the bottom of the pan, so that works out great. Okay. Next, we are going to add our 1 1/4 cup of half and half. Just like that. And we are going to stir. So this is going to be the base. And I'm going to cook this for about probably 6 or so minutes. It's going to get nice and thick. Not overly thick. You don't want it to be like paste, like it's hard to move, but you want it pretty darn thick. Then what we're going to do is toss our green beans in here. Cover it with those delicious crispy onions that you get from the store that I planned on using the entire time. And then we're going to bake it in the oven and finish this off. So I'll be back in 6 minutes. All right, we are back. And as you can see, this is looking perfect. Remember, we're going to add a bunch of green beans to this, but the sauce is not runny. It's not too thick. It coats the spoon real nice, or the wood, my little wood scraper guy here. I just turned it down to low. Now, first thing we're going to want to do right now is to taste this sauce. Very important. And it is not salty enough. Ooh, it's got very nice black pepper. Ooh, maybe I'll add just a touch more. I think that's more of the chili flake spice. So just a little black pepper. It really needed a good amount of salt. Didn't add a whole bunch. Just a touch of black pepper. A little touch more. Stir that around in there. You know what? I guess you could turn this off now because we've got our oven is preheated to 425 degrees. We've got our beautiful, perfectly done crispy onions. Scrumptious. So, we're going to take those fresh green beans we had before. Dump it right in to the pan. Be very careful. Try not to get it everywhere. Like I said, this version has a lot of little bits of stuff in it, which I like. I think is delicious. Look at that. It is going to be perfect. And remember, this sauce is going to get a little bit thicker. As it bakes in the oven, it's going to reduce just a little bit more. Okay, if you got a cast iron pan, your handle's going to be pretty warm. So basically all I'm going to do now, shake it. I'm just making a flat Nice flat surface for my onions to rest on. Okay. Like so. Perfect. Then I'm going to sprinkle the top with not crispy leeks. No. Crispy onions. Use as much or as little as you want. I always pick the stuff off the top, so I usually add a little extra. Okay. Like so. Pat it down nice and smooth. And this is going to go into that oven for about 15 minutes at 425 degrees. Everything's pretty darn hot. We just want to crisp up and brown the top. And make sure you put it on a sheet pan in your oven, just in case any bubbles up or boils over. That way you're not burning anything. And I mean, my house already smells like burning from the leeks. So, but I digress. In the oven for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna see what we got. Yep. And there you have it. Scratch-made green bean casserole other than the crispy onions on the top, because once again, I burnt the heck out of the crispy leeks. So what did we learn today? We learned that sometimes you burn stuff, sometimes things don't go according to plan, and you just gotta roll with it. It's okay. We're just cooking for ourselves. It's no big deal. So I'm gonna scoop up a little bit of this. Oh, look at that. See how like it's saucy, but it's not like wet, like watery. Oh my gosh. Yes. This is legit green bean casserole if I've ever seen it. So I'm gonna pan up a little bit. Oh, hi. Hello. I should look over there. Lot of stuff in it. I like a lot of stuff in my green bean casserole. You can see the sauce is an awesome thickness. It's not too thick, not too thin. Nice and creamy. This is obviously super hot, so I'm going to get some in here. I'm going to let that cool off. As much as I love to burn my roof of my mouth off for you, I'm just going to give it a second. Good thing I trimmed my beard, too. It's a weird angle, weird shot. Not the best. If I was a cinematographer, they would not be happy with this angle, but that's okay. Hot. Oh, that's real good. So when you cook the mushrooms and the onions down that much, you're developing some amazing flavor. So, all the mushroom kind of ness that you would get out of cream of mushroom, much more out of this because we added so much and we cooked the heck out of it. Caramelized onions add a little bit of sweetness. A lot of black pepper, so a little pepper burn, but also that chili flake adds a nice little heat. And these crispy onions on the top they just make it. I mean, the only thing that would be better would maybe be like your homemade crispy leeks, but let's not even go there. But whatever. This is really good. You also know how to blanch foods at home now. Anything green that you need to kind of par cook or before you do something else to it, you now know how to do that. You know how to kind of make your own sauce in a pan from scratch. That's awesome. Now you could do it a lot of different ways. Also, if you're making this and you want to, let's say, add a bunch of bacon to it, which what I was thinking about, but I add bacon to everything, so I wanted to keep it a little, not as much bacon and everything, but just know that I probably, when I'm making it for myself, am putting extra bacon in it. I'm just going to keep eating this because this is going to be my lunch and dinner, but that's it. Make sure you take pictures of what you do, change the recipe up, make this but do a different green vegetable or a different vegetable altogether. Maybe do like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, I don't know, mixture of vegetables. Do whatever. But please take pictures, post them, let me see them. Oh, well, there goes, at least it's on the table. Hey-oh! I'll clean that up in a minute. But Thank you once again. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Let everybody know that this channel is around. Tell all your famous friends that if they want to learn how to cook and they don't know anything about the kitchen, maybe this is a nice leisurely video channel or a YouTube channel for them. If you're a brand or if you want to get in contact with me, chefmikedoesstuff@gmail.com. But most importantly, follow along because you are not going to want to miss when Chef Mike does stuff. Okay, bye. I'm going to eat more of this and I'm going to have nightmares about my leeks. Makes me sad. I'm pretty sad. I had a whole thing talking about how if it goes wrong, I'm going to show it. And there you go. I burnt it. Forgot to record a part. This is what happens because it's been a delay in making these videos. That's what happens. So, whatever. I'm happy with this, though. Very tasty.